Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So you all have asked for it, and I'm delivering. Here comes the next portfolio review. So we've got a lot of ground to cover in this one. It's been quite a while since we've done a portfolio review. First, let me take care of some business here. Um, just want to make sure, because this tool, I go live like that. So here we go. Just want to make sure the monetization is on, so I earn my few pennies in ad revenue. Every little bit helps. It's funny. The ad revenue is actually equivalent to like one trade. That's my new joke. But anyway, so we've been doing well here. We ended October on a very good note. Um, so without further ado, let's go ahead and just go over. Well, let me show you Discord first. So let me show you all where I actually cover the trades and stuff. So this is my Discord. We got a lot of tabs here. I'm gonna have to close some of them. I have under Why Book 101 with the coach. I pretty much share all my trades here. I just updated for the most recent, well, last week. So to get started, this was last Friday was actually very good. Closed out another 33,000 in gains. And I say that like it's just a normal occurrence now. I say it in the same tone I would talk about interest on a checking account. But anyway, so this isn't every day, and I kept these open probably since like early September. So this was about over a month. But the month of October, we're going to review, how the portfolio did for that month. This was as of last week. I don't think I actually closed any trades this week, but I did get assigned on some stuff. This is Schwab, of course. For those of you, by the way, we picked up about 120 new subscribers from the video I did with Marcos. So for new followers that are really engaged, wanting to see how I do things, this video is for you. So these are the screenshots that we saw on his channel, combined year to date 435,000. But what's really key is these last 2 months of the year 2025. What a year it's been, right? These last 2 months, actually in less than 60 days, because today's November 1st. So you count the 30 days in November plus 19 days in December. In the next 49 days, I don't want to say it's going to be make or break. I want to call it make or make because it's actually going to be the premium that I've taken in is going to be realized one way or another. I call options premium, by the way, and I just said this on my one-on-one session this morning. Options premium is like a prepaid discount to enter into any position. So, welcome to Chuck. So, I think of all the videos, of all the content I put out, this is going to be one of the most valuable ones I do, and I'm going to try to make it so. So these are the combined Fidelity accounts. So it's showing 1.169 million. Took a little bit of a hit this week on obviously MSTU and SMCX. Those aren't quite fully recovered. MSTU is actually my biggest concern because MicroStrategy, even though they had good earnings, let's look at that real quick. We'll do, let's see, MSTR. I'm just starting to just Google stuff now. With Google AI, it makes things like super easy. So as of Friday, let's do this over here. I think this is actually, I'm on Yahoo. So Friday, we did pretty well. We were up 1494. And then in the 5 day period, well, we didn't get back to where we were on Monday, but it was nice that earnings were better than expected because we were on a downward trajectory in strategy, significant downward trajectory. So here's hoping by the end of the year we start to recover. I know what's his face is doing a lot of crazy stuff with the stock. They're doing buybacks and things like that. Welcome to Dividend Degenerates, one of the key core fans that's always on. Love that. Like no matter what time I randomly go live, he shows up. Although I did say I was going to start like an hour ago, but here's the thing. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm like a time traveler. I'm a day ahead because by tomorrow, if this video was 24 hours from now, I would actually be on time because we'll be an hour behind, which is crazy, right? Like, why do we keep doing this? You'd think they could just leave the time one way or another, right? I prefer to have the extra hour of daylight, but we'll see. They'll talk about for another week or so. They'll say, "Oh, we need to change it," and then they'll forget about it and just won't happen. But anyway, so let's go look at the first thing I want to cover is what I've talked about on here, the money market rates that I get for all of this. So basically, all of this is invested in cash secured puts. So while the trades are pending, before I actually realize all the gain in the premium, the cash balance is pretty much maxed out. So pretty much all this money is in cash balance, and it's making basically money market rates of return, which you'll see here in the SPACs, which just paid yesterday. Now, as I said on Discord, I'm going to talk about all this. This actually ended up being less than what I expected um, in the individual account. This should have been, if you do the math based on the amount of cash I have, you can actually see my history here of what I was doing. So for the month in the money market accounts, I basically made about, let's see here. Okay, 10 of you on. Smash that like button. Two thumbs way, way up. Greatly helps the algorithm. Um, okay, so basically, I made $3,227 last month in combined money market SPACs and FDRXX, which pay about 3.8%. So that translates to about 38,724 for the year. But as I'm going to show you all, this should have actually been a lot higher because this account, there's about, believe it or not, there's more cash invested than what the account is actually worth right now. So basically 3.8%, you'll see the calculation here on 435,000 should be 16,350, which if you divide that, it translates to about 1,377. So this, folks, was about $800 short. So I need to call Fidelity and find out why they have me on some kind of like a cash violation because when the transfer happened, you all that have been following me for a long time know what a fiasco that was. When the transfer happened, they for some reason restricted like half of my cash for 90 days because of some position, and that was a whole mess, with the Schwab end and the Fidelity end. What you all will notice, by the way, I'm going to jump around here a lot. I'm kind of random today, but what you all will notice, like you'll see this, like, oh my God, look at this, he lost 135,000 in annual salary. No, that's actually part of what I transferred out of here. It's like the net 2-year change. I still have with Schwab $7,096. Most of this, I'm holding the bag on some SMCX, which is down. I got assigned on it, but I have faith it's going to come back. So I sold a covered call to take in about $1,150 in premium. I look at it like free money. I'm already up $87 on it, and then I have the 100 shares here that are going to recover. So SMCI earnings come out for that one, and it's a big week for earnings, not just SMCI, but pretty much all companies right now. So let's see. Earnings coming up. Let's just do this real quick here. Um, let's see what the AI mode tells us. It's thinking. Uh-oh. So we've got a lot of big ones. Berkshire Hathaway reports, CNO, Comstock. So earnings season has been going very well. As of the 24th, 29% have reported results. Let's see here. We've got big ones though, like obviously Nvidia. Let's see. Just trying to use AI a little bit here. I like the built-in Google AI. Here we go. This is what I want, or partly what I want. Okay, so we've definitely got Palantir coming up, which it didn't mention on here. AI is not perfect. NVIDIA, it didn't mention, but we've got AMD, Uber, Pfizer, Shopify. Let me do this here. SMCI. I just want it to give me a nice format. NVIDIA SMCI PLTR. Let's see what it says here. Okay. Palantir is Monday. NVIDIA is around mid-November. SMCI, well, I know this didn't happen. They're saying it's possible. No, here it is right here. SMCI is Tuesday. Okay, so Palantir is Monday. SMCI is Tuesday. NVIDIA is on the 19th. Those are the three big ones I'm looking at. MicroStrategy, of course, just reported earnings. So there's that. You smashed, huh? That's awesome. Anytime you get a chance to smash, that's always a positive experience. Okay, so let's go look at, so this was the SPACs. I'm looking at all accounts here. So SPACs, so it's weird because they're not putting me in FDRXX anymore in the new one. So for the SPACs, I got it in the individual and in the Roth IRA. So the two accounts that I rolled over to Fidelity, the net and net, I did it for a whole basically 484.13 plus 223.50. So big whoop, $708 basically. It should have been a lot higher, but this stupid cash thing, we got to figure that out. So let's see, FDRXX. is here. Now this one, this is my biggest one. So when you see the professionally managed, ignore that because I'm actually the professional managing it, and I don't always come across the most professional. So I'm flattered that they call me that. The reason it says that because it's a whole complicated thing. I have a C corp. I rolled over. This was my former JP Morgan 401k. Basically, I've grown it. It was 480,000 in May when I rolled it over. I've grown it almost 200,000 by trading options. So that's what most of you all are here for, and we're going to cover all my trades this week. So, but before that, I want to cover the money market because see, look here. So keep track here. So it was 707 plus the big account, 2,227.20. Look at that. That's like a paycheck. Isn't that amazing? For money that's really not even mine yet. Like it's held up in premium, plus 136 for the HSA one. So for the month, oh, and then there's another one. I'm sorry, there's another Roth and then the HSA. So in the 5 accounts that are here, that's what I made for the month in money market. That's amazing because I'm not even having to separately invest this money in CDs. This money's already tied up making money in options. It's making money like 3 ways. You've got stock lending, which is one way. You've got the money market mutual funds, which is a second way. And the main way it's making money, cash secured put. So you're making money instead of owning one stock and just making money the boring old fashioned way. It's like 3 ways we're making money here. So $3,226 a month. That's, you know, uh, I mean, that wouldn't really cover like full-time salary today, but that's a nice amount of money for the year. Some people don't make that in a year. So on money market rates, the fact that that's coming in, that's pretty amazing, right? So now let's look at, I pretty much have everything like maxed out, but what we want to do is go over to here, and then we're going to look at closed positions over here. So closed positions. I got assigned on some stuff this week too. So you'll notice nothing really changed this week in the account. I didn't really close anything. Um, of course, this month it's going to show zero because we just turned to November, basically. But if I go for, let's see, I got to do custom. So this is across all the accounts. Since I've rolled these accounts over to Fidelity, they've made another 200,000. Keep in mind, before I rolled them, the 2 accounts that were over here at Schwab, and I actually like the Schwab display better. This was just the Roth, but between Roth and brokerage, $237,067, 90% win rate. So what I want you all to focus on here, really the only account out of all these that I'm gonna probably get busted on is this one for the 223,000. I'm gonna owe tax on this one. The others are thankfully in IRAs. So just say like, say it ends up being like 28%. I'm gonna owe a pretty penny of this in tax. So this is not very tax efficient. But just say, for argument's sake, say it's like, I don't know, 30 or 35%, it's going to be even more. So I'm looking at between 60 and 70,000 and change in stocks, or I mean in taxes that I'm going to owe. So yeah, there's that. That is the Schwab portion. That's just the individual account. And so while this was here, I just moved this last month. So basically for the first 10 months of the year, this is what I did. And then in the meantime, I moved the 401k to Fidelity in May, and then I moved these other accounts. So now I pretty much have everything over here. So I've got like 5 accounts. So these accounts have all made this amount. As far as trades, let's go look at. We'll review the last month, the month of October. We'll just do this. Oops, hold on. 10 instead of 11. Okay, so the month of October was really good for the account. We made $56,000. How do we do that? Well, a lot of it was AMDL. See, I closed these out. I kind of wish I would have left them open because I would have realized all the proverbial, meat off the bone, so to speak. SMCX was a big one, made about 21,000 on that one. TQQQ, this one, I got really lucky on this one. This one expired because October 10th was such a drastically swinging day for the market. I was able to, this one fell just out of the money, so I was able to realize all of this one. So that's always fun when you realize all the meat off that bone. And then another one, TQQQ, I was able to buy that back 497. I actually traded this while I was at the Stocktoberfest conference, so that was fun. So that was pretty much all of my closed positions in the rollover. And then I had another one in the health savings account. That was TNA. I got exercised on TNA because I did covered calls on it, so I got called out of that one. Wow, you all are coming in droves. I love it. Can you do options in an HSA? Absolutely. In fact, I'll show you. You want to see in full transparency? I'll show you exactly what I have open here. Let's see. Wow, T Porsche subscribe. Next, we got to get like T Mercedes and then T Audi to subscribe. Then we'll have the trifecta. All right, so he wants to see HSA. Can you do options in an HSA? Well, I just showed you that I did, but I'll show you the active holdings here. So holding the bag a little bit. MSTU, I did puts far out of the money. You all know my strategy on that one. It's down, $957. I'll get assigned, so on and so forth, 7 contracts. But look at SMCX, $70 puts. I'm up, expiring December 19th. So what's cool about this one, and then TNA, I had $5,000 worth of that one. I got called out of most of that one. So I pretty much rolled out of everything I was in this one. And then my TQQQ position, the way I invest in growth now, I invest in what I call leveraged growth. So TQQQ, instead of just investing in the Qs, if you believe, it's a very easy theory to subscribe to. If you believe that the Fed is going to cut rates, which is factual, so that is fact we're dealing with. But if you believe in the Fed put, the idea of the Fed put, you would therefore believe, by deductive reasoning, that the market is pretty much guaranteed to go up by the Federal Reserve. So if you agree with all of the aforementioned facts, which they are facts, how could you disagree? But if you agree, then why would you not trade leveraged growth? Because look at S&P 500, look at NASDAQ, up over time, right? So in 10 years, if those are up so far, and I'm going to show you all something at the end of this video that's going to blow your mind. So if you believe that the NASDAQ and the S&P are up over time, which I'll let you all in on a little secret just between those of us watching this video, they are up over time, actually very substantially. So that'll just be our little secret here. But if you all agree with that, then leveraged growth is phenomenal. So watch this. TQQQ since May has done, or actually I got into this one. You know what I did? How about this, folks? This is really key. This could be a separate video in and of itself because I made my contribution to the HSA and then I put it in all in TQQQ and I've made another 2 grand on it. So that's pretty good, right? So, I'm a little overweight. If I have any health issues, I've made 44% on it, so I have even more money to spend on health. So I should just forget exercise, forget dieting, just make money and my health is covered, right? Best insurance policy, right? I'm joking, of course. That's a joke, and we do have a little something for that. I have the little people don't always distinguish when I'm joking and when I'm not, so I have the horn for that. Anyway, I don't know why that's up here. I have a mic that I don't use either, but I have my branded logo here, so we'll get to using those things more often. I'll try to incorporate those things more often. But anyway, so what I want to show you all in terms of closed positions, I pretty much wheeled out of everything I was in before. So if you look at pretty much the year 2025, I was in 3 big not money market, but Fidelity zero cost mutual funds since I got into the account. These all did very well. I pretty much, for what I put into it, you see what I put in here, and they all made very good profits and then got out of those. Now you can't do options on mutual funds, so I just sold those. And then I started doing options on them. So you'll see here, made a nice gain for the year. And of course, this is a tax advantaged account. But what I want you all to focus on here is the hidden gain in the account. So between SMCX, watch this. You see what I have open here between MSTR, or I'm sorry, MSTU. Let's see. It was originally 2508.29 in premium, plus I took in another 11,217.98 in SMCX. So watch this. When these expire, I keep all this premium no matter what. So you see what the account is already worth. The account is already worth 25,399. So by the end of the year, folks, I can add another 13,726.27 to the account. So that's substantial growth if these all expire. So the account could be worth 40,000 in 49 days, basically. So in all of these, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Let me share a little bit past the recent. Let me share my last trades here, I guess. So I'm still getting dividends. I got my Tesla dividend. I got my Coney dividend XYZY. And of course now Tesla is weekly. I got a little MSTY. I still have some dividends, and I'm making money by loaning out these stocks as well. So making money there. Um, Here are the trades that I've done this week, basically. So I sold puts on Kava. That's a competitor to Chipotle that I believe in. I took in 35.70 in premium. I sold puts on METU because I'm a strong believer that if you look at what METU did this week, I'm a strong believer that I'm sorry, Meta. I'm a strong believer that Meta is going to come back. So watch this here. Let's see what the AI gives us. 495. See, AI is far from perfect, folks. But what I want is the chart here. So the reason I sold puts on these, my strategy, is because the stock dropped unnecessarily. I think it got oversold. It dropped over $100. The headline was that they made a lot of AI investments and it negatively impacted their sales. Is that a bad thing? Does anybody actually think that's a bad thing? So if it's not a bad thing, then why, you know, like, why should the stock be down long term? So if you agree on that, that's why I sold puts right there. Because Meta, I'm pretty certain by the end of the year is going to come back. So I sold it out to our magic date of December 19th. In VDL, let me read some comments here real quick. We had a star show up here. I see Marcos is on. Welcome, Marcos. So glad to have you on. We're going to do a joint collab on this channel too very soon. And here's the real goat of options trading, pay the piper. Sell that in the money put on Meta. I sold out of the money on METU because I like leveraged ETFs. The horn. Oh, Chuck Stank likes the horn. Pirate Justin is on. Wow, Pirate Justin made a Saturday. How about this, by the way? So I did a one-on-one session this morning, so I feel super productive. Anytime I can make money on a weekend, folks, it feels like, I don't want to say like cheating, but it's like a jump start on the week. It's awesome. I wish the market was open because I would absolutely trade on weekends. So, productive start to the day so far. By the way, I'm going to plug this one too. So, Max Convexity and I are going to do a joint live stream as well. We were supposed to do it today, but I think he was up late, took a nap or something. So he does really early live streams, and w- anyway, long story short, we're gonna do one tomorrow. We're definitely long overdue for one. He's become a good friend. We met in New York a year ago, and we often, we talk a lot offline. So I'm looking forward to having him on. We're gonna do a joint live stream. So a lot of cool stuff in the works. Anyway, back to the trades. That's what you all are really here for. So this one, you'll notice I sold at different strikes. Now, why would I do such a thing? Because in this one, I only had enough money to do $46. So I'm kind of threading the needle here as far as like maxing out like what I can invest in these. So I did $46, but 50 is actually my target strike price. And then I did more in VDL because I'm very bullish on Nvidia. So now I've gone out to 120. The funny thing is, the haters out there, you all were making fun of me at $70. I can pull up the messages in my Discord. Um, this one gentleman. Let's see, should I call him out or not? Because he's actually a pretty successful options trader himself. I think he calls himself now Mr. .05 Delta. He's funny because he's one of these people. He's like nice to my face, but he'll go, talk shit about me in other discords. But it's all good fun. Anyway, so I consider him a mentor as well when it comes to options trading. And he's definitely funny. But anyway, I'm not going to dig through old messages. But he thought I was absolutely crazy for selling NVDL puts at 70. And honestly, I think Pay the Piper and me, we're more on the same page in terms of our risk tolerance and all of that. Um, like we have a similar mindset. So, I've kind of maxed out my risk, but as they say, risk reward. So NVDL, I just want to pull up NVDL for a second here. I wouldn't say I like to spike the football, but when the haters criticize me for selling at 70, where is it today? It's at almost 108. So, and look at this here. Now, obviously, back in April, that would have looked completely foolish, but We've had a heck of a year, folks. I mean, look at this. We started the year at 66, we got up to 81, and then things tanked. And honestly, right here, dips are the best times to make bullish moves. You see that? Like right in here, this was golden. Imagine this. Imagine maxing everything out. Imagine selling December puts on NVDL when it was trading at $27 a share. Imagine going out to 120. You would look completely foolish. But look at it today. You would look like a genius today. So it's here, and honestly, I'm banking on it going even higher. So October 29th, it hit 113. It's pulled back a little bit, but we've had a dramatic move upward in Nvidia, and I think it's going to keep going. I'm very bullish on it. So anyway, that's another trade I did there. That's the rationale for that one. Um, and then of course METU, NVDL. I did a bunch more NVDL because honestly, Nvidia is one of my favorite companies. I think it's just going to keep running. Um, let's see what else I did this week. The paid lending program is actually it's borrowing a lot of my yield max stuff too. So at least good thing is I'm earning a little bit of side income on the yield max that'll help offset some of the NAV erosion, right? That's why I'm hands on. They say, "Oh, why not just, the fund manager does it for you." Yeah, but you don't have to deal with NAV erosion. You eliminate NAV erosion by doing it yourself. Um, that's a pro tip though, not for everybody. Um, let's see. Look at that, my YMAG dividend, $13.46. I can retire now. Okay, let's look at dividends. Our favorite, dividends, right? That's like everybody is here for dividends. I always make the joke, you can make, 435,000 in options trading. These are minor details, but that 10-cent ulti dividend, that's where it's at, right? Okay, but all kidding aside, so these were the dividends this week. A lot of them are coming in. Tesla, MSTY. So, I do invest in what I talk about. That's the moral of the story. I actually do invest in what I talk about. It's all real. I have some FEPI, I have some Ulti. See, I actually do have Ulti. XDTE, QDTE, all of that. So, what you will notice, let me go back to realized gains over here. What you all will notice is that I end up often going back to the same trades, but I go to them at higher strikes. So if anybody was trying to look for trade ideas, I don't always share everything. Well, what I'm going to start doing for my premium members, I'm going to start sharing trades at, let's see here. What did he say? Sell that in the money, put on Meta. Yeah, we called the 100 plus. We did. See, man, Pay the Piper and I, we are on the same page, man. That's awesome. We did. But your buddy, you know who I'm talking about, your buddy is more conservative, I think, than we are. But he's done well too. I got to give him credit. He's done very well. And I consider him an inspiration too. Let's see, Soxal, I quit doing those. I need to look back into those. Sometimes folks, with all the devices that are in front of us, it's very easy to get ADD. It's very easy to forget things that aren't right in front of you. And so I forgot about Soxal. I haven't traded it in a while. Done a lot of SMCX, as you can see. I've only taken one loss. This was a Nvidia call. Last earnings, I thought it was going to like be a moonshot, so it's like a lotto ticket, you know. So 540 bucks, that was a total loss, but you see how we've done for the year. A lot of AMDL, some Connell. I am thinking about getting into Connell. If I free up some capital, I may get into Connell actually, because Connell has been beat up. If you look at like Coinbase, let's see. So CONL, this one has been beat up again. Look where it was July 18th. I think we can get back there. This might be my last trade that I do for the year. Now, what I want to show you all here is, let's see. Where are my spreadsheets, my Google Sheets? It's probably going to make me sign in. It's annoying. Well, it's weird. I should be signed in because, huh. Oh, here we go. Okay. So what I want to show you all, not this one. This is one of those. This is an old video I did a long time ago. 10-year 401k. That's another video. Okay, this is the spreadsheet that I want to show you all here. This is a lot of my very near and dear information here. Very like, you know, stuff I kind of keep to myself typically. But over here, this is my year to date. So my biggest income source is no longer employment. ironically, even though I have hit over six figures in employment for the year. My dividend income is approaching full-time income source, but it's not full-time. It's not going to be what it was last year. Ironically, so YouTube and everything else is not. Let me make sure here. Okay, see, I was keeping track of my wins, my losses, and all of that. Um, here's the key takeaway. So this is what I've made. Realized premium year to date's over 435,000. Absolutely mind-blowing. But trades expiring by the end of the year, there's another almost 600,000 in like hidden gains that are just it's like padded hidden gains just waiting to come. We'll see if all these come. I may end up rolling some of these out. I've got to start considering taxes and stuff like that because, I guess I'm no longer an average Joe when it comes to, a tax standpoint. So, I don't like the federal government being my biggest beneficiary, but it is what it is. I kind of see, I got to admit, there's a saying, you become what you mock. I used to resent, so like I used to say somebody that made like $1 million, I'm like, oh, why are they complaining about a 35% tax rate? But when you think about it, if you make $1 million, you're paying $350,000 to the federal government. That's like a house. At least in my state, that's like the equivalent of a house. And then if you live in a more expensive state, you may have state income tax, you may have like municipal, city tax. Um, who's Limanowski here? He says your next side hustle is financial comedy. Yeah, I mean, I try to make jokes. You've got to make finance, like I have a hat says make finance exciting again. You've got to make it entertaining, you know? And sometimes, like people ask me what I do with my yield max dividends. I'm also, believe it or not, I like commodities too, so that's why I invest in these solid gold glasses. I wear these sometimes, to when I'm talking about money, but not everybody appreciates the humor. So I don't always wear them. But anyway, the moral of the story, there's another 587,000 that can be realized in premium if I keep going. Now, the note that I want to end on here is, as always, a positive note. I want to show you all something here, Seeking Alpha. By the way, I finally got paid by Seeking Alpha. That was amazing because I fixed my paywall stuff. So what I want to show you all here, and I do have a, what do you call it, an affiliate version, but I'm not using it. But what I want to show you all here is that if you all think that, oh, invest in the Qs, what I want you all to know, if you don't take anything else away from this video, think outside the box. You've got to think outside the box, okay? Don't follow a script. Think for yourself. And honestly, these phones, AI and all that, don't really help you to think for yourself, but you've got to try harder as we go forward, you know, as we move on into the future, computers and humans, the distinguishing factor, I believe, is our ability to think critically. And so as human beings, you've got to think critically and just not try to follow a script all the time. So what I see people do, they say, okay, well, index investing safe. And you agree, right? You agree with the theory, which is really not a theory, but more so proven fact. You agree that the Fed is going to juice the economy and is going to keep the market going up. So look at the NASDAQ over the last 10 years, right? 448%. That's phenomenal, right? But if it's pretty much always up over long term, there's a fund called TQQQ by ProShares that does three times what the NASDAQ does. So if you're gaining, and it gets better. If you're gaining this much in the Qs, watch this over time. Over 5 years, look at this. TQQQ. Now, there is a lot of volatility, and they only do 3x on indexes, by the way, because the index, you don't have firm specific risk, you don't have stock specific risk. So, with the indexes, it's much less likely to ever crash if you have 3x to the downside. Now, if we get to an '08 type year, that would be a little scary, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. I think there's safeguards in place now. But anyway, so 297% price return for TQQQ. Let's do total return just for fun. Okay, so total return. Look at this, 140% versus 315%. So that's pretty awesome. Now, I have the S&P 500 here as well. There happens to be another one for S&P 500. Now, the small cap one, I tried this with all three, the whole suite of three. Look at UPRO. Wow, in 5 years, UPRO is the best performing of these. You see, these are three times, almost three times the underlying. And if you go out further, unfortunately, Seeking Alpha wants you to pay to go out past 5 years, which I think is ridiculous. Sign of the times we live in here. everything's like super inflated. That's why you got to invest, folks, because everything's like super inflated. So TNA versus what's the Russell IWM? IWM is the Russell 2000. So watch this. IWM's not quite keeping track. It is higher, but Russell small caps is long overdue to absolutely smash it. So all right, folks, that's pretty much gonna do it. I've made the key point that I wanted to end on. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord and engage in the Discord. If you all want one-on-ones, if you want to learn how to make, almost 500,000 a year in trading, it's very easy to book. You can email me, lifechangingfinancialconsults@gmail.com. You can also go here, why book one-on-one with a coach. I'm very transparent. I show all of my trades. Let me just, to be thorough here, let me go here and I want to show you all the whole over the life of TQQQ. Watch this, TQQ versus QQQ 10 years. I want to show you all the charts here. So if you annualize them, very significantly higher. Now it's weird, even the AI is doing that funny font. But let's do this here. TQQQ, watch this. I just want to show you all the chart. Maximum over life. Do you see this? Do you see this rate of return? It's you got to look at it twice. 27,044% all time. Isn't that nuts compared to just NASDAQ? Watch this. So NASDAQ over, this is over the, since it's been tracking like 2002, I guess, but it's a big difference over a shorter lifespan for ProShares. ProShares been public since February 2010. God, I wish I was investing back then. After splits and all that, look at that, 43 cents, 27,000% rate of return. Now watch this. Watch the UPRO versus S&P. So 9,728% versus just S&P, which is, over the life of it, has also done very well, since it's been tracking, I guess, 1996, 30 years almost. That's crazy. 30 years. Wow. Um, that's not accurate. It goes way back, but that's only Google for some reason is only going back that far. Anyway, moral of the story. So that's 813%, also my area code. And then 9,728%. So you see massive difference. You see that? 27,000%. That's mind-boggling for a fund. Anyway, folks, that is going to do it now. Let's read some more comments here really quick. Love that. Let's see. WPay. I like WPay. Marcos owns 0% yield max. That's awesome. That's wise. I won't say too much more. I've been to two of their events, but um, that's not bad. Let's see. Still drip some, but no new money in months for yield max. How is everyone's stable ulti going? Honestly, I'll end on this note. I think ulti, if you look at all the stocks it's in, like Rocket Labs, Carvana, it's good that ulti's NAV has been stable, but I honestly think ulti should be appreciating in price. So I'll drop that out there. There's two competitors to ulti that just debuted yesterday, KQQQ and ULTI. I think it should be doing better, just my personal opinion. Anyway, folks, see ya. Gotta go. We'll